Hi, it's Jen and Tammy. We have a fun new series called the Woolly Mug Rug Series. Each month we'll be featuring a new theme, of course, for that particular month, and we'll be showing that the month before.
Yes.
So for February, we'll be showing that in January. So you have time to make that. And of course, this makes such an awesome gift. And when Tammy joined the staff here at Shabby, she had an incredible experience with wool.
I love wool.
And this is going to be a wool series. So everything is here is wool. They could do that in cotton fabric.
They could.
Yeah,
They could
but
do it
we'll
in
be
cotton.
doing, our kits will be all in wool.
All wool.
And I just am absolutely loving working with wool and all the amazing threads.
Oh, the threads are beautiful.
And then Tammy has brought also, besides the love of wool and experience with wool, an amazing skill set with stitches. And so she's going to be teaching us some new stitches today, and we'll be referencing the Creative Stitching book from Sue Spargo.
That's correct. The second edition.
And it has full color diagrams of every stitch. But you'll be showing us a couple stitches today. I think two or three?
Three stitches.
Three plans. So, of course, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, just do it. There's so much going on, and we just are always having fun projects for quilts, DIY, seasonal projects, and of course monthly projects as well. In the link of the download, or right beneath the description box, there's a link to go ahead and download the diagram, or you can go to the Shabby Fabrics homepage, click on free projects. That's at the very, very bottom, and you'll be looking for the Woolly Mug Rug for February.
Yes.
Once you have that downloaded, I wanted to point out that, let me just turn off the light box for just a second here. You will have the proper orientation, just like we're seeing here, as well as the reverse for Fusible.
Correct.
So
we'll reflect it.
We'll be using both Fusible applique today and freezer paper.
Yes.
And we'll talk to you more about that. So step one, of course, is deciding on your fabrics. And of course, I always think kit's a great idea because I want mine to look like the sample.
I love the texture in this wool.
Yeah, I just really love that. We used a hand dyed here.
Yes.
And it has a sparkle in it, which is,
It does.
I like sparkle.
Little glitz.
You wouldn't know that from my nails, right? And then this is a really cute plaid, and we use some variegated thread, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. So step one will be getting yourself some fusible webbing as well as some freezer paper, both available on the Shabby Fabrics website. And I'll be using the smaller light box today from Daylight. This one is just the right size for this project. The Daylight light boxes come in 3 different sizes now, depending on your project.
They're nice.
And I'm finding I'm using all 3 sizes now.
I'm using them all.
I really love having the 3 sizes, especially for a smaller project. I don't really want to bring up my big one.
I don't want the big one, no.
Yeah. So for initially, I'm going to trace the wool hearts onto just fusible webbing.
Fusible webbing,
Heat and
correct.
on light, and you'll just get a small piece. And I had to okay, this is my red, and so I was like, that's going to be my red heart, and that's going to be my pink heart. You're simply going to lay that over top of your light box. You can turn it on as bright as you want, or if I don't want that as bright, I can just stop that where I want that, lay that on top, and simply trace around. Nothing new or surprising about that. One thing I did do on mine when I traced it out, because they are very similar, is I went ahead. Let me just trace it out real quick. And I don't have my glasses here, so how am I doing?
Yeah, you're doing good. It looks great. Still looks like a heart.
That's good.
But you labeled it red. That's good.
I did. I went ahead and labeled that one red and that one pink.
Perfect.
And that way it just helped me make sure I got the correct one where it's supposed to be. So for now, let me put that up for just a second here. Now, when we get ready to do Fusible, I like to just roughly cut around the shapes. Now, it is wool, so I don't want to get too
want too big of an edge on that.
Exactly.
So keep it a little tighter.
Keep it a little bit tighter than maybe with cotton, just because that wool is expensive.
Wool is expensive, it is.
And we'll just continue to trace out the other one. Will you trace that out for me? Or cut that out for me? That would be great. And of course, we'll be going into these beautiful threads. There'll be a thread set available for you as well. Because I think the threads, I don't know if the overhead camera can see that beautiful variegated thread. It's just, and the sparkle and the love and the XO. I just
makes
absolutely,
the project.
I love that. This is when we'll just go to our wool. Should we go ahead and iron that down for them?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and do that.
We will need that light box again because we do need to trace that.
Yes.
So I'm just going to put that off to the side for the moment. It's always tricky working on limited space, but let me get this out, Tammy, and that way you can iron that down, or I can iron that down, or we can iron that down. Something's going to happen here.
We're going to iron it down.
Something's happening.
I don't ever worry about putting an iron on wool.
Yeah.
That's fine to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I sometimes I use mostly the same setting, a medium heat.
A medium heat, yes.
Exactly. And
Yep.
we'll do the same thing
Perfect.
with our red.
Yep.
Go ahead and I want to point this out that we did ours on bias. You can see this is kind of a grid. This is in your kit. So you could do yours straight up if you want to. I think it's
really cute on point.
I really like
So I
that.
just stick your heart right down in your corner
yeah.
like this, and then you have a perfect 45. Perfect, just like that.
That's a good way to do it.
Yep. Excellent.
And now we will go ahead and cut on the
them out.
line. And the other
Right.
thing too that's kind of fun about wool is I can't tell you how many times I've done fusible webbing with cotton and ironed this to the right side of the fabric instead of the wrong side
instead of
and
the
ruined it. With wool, there really almost isn't
There
a right
is
and wrong
not a
side.
right or wrong
I
side.
can't
There
screw
isn't.
up.
No, you
I'm
can't.
happy about
It's good. That's right.
Less likely
That's
to, I should say.
That's right.
I'm
That's
much less
right.
likely to make an oops on that. Now we went ahead and cut that out already.
We did.
Now, this is where the light box comes back into play. And this is where up until I had the light box, I was never really able to get embroidery onto the wool.
Nice lettering on wool.
I
Right.
just was having
That's
to kind of
hard.
wing it.
Exactly.
And that never works out super well for me. So, the light box is so nice and bright that I can lay that. Look at how you can see that clearly.
It's perfect.
Since we'll be stitching with a lighter colored thread, I think the white pen is
I
most.
think a white is perfect.
Because
yes.
if we were going to go with a dark thread, we would do.
You could even use a ballpoint pen or something if you wanted to do that on wool. I wouldn't, but it's not going to come off. So you want to make sure your thread is going to completely cover the marks.
Right. So if it was
right?
black, we maybe use a micron. Don't use a
micron.
friction pen.
No, don't use a
because we're
friction.
going to iron. We're going to iron this down to the background. I've done that too.
That's right.
Of course.
Friction disappears.
If there's a mistake to be made, I've made it at least 3 times.
At least 3 times.
Yeah, I didn't learn the first or second time. It takes me a couple times. So we'll just.
But it's really nice how the XO shows right through there. Easy to trace.
Oh, it just makes it a dream. And I'm
does.
finding that I'm using this light box for so many, just aligning of anything really. I find myself using it.
Yep.
And it has the grid around it, both in inches and centimeters. So if you do need to measure something specifically, it's on there for that.
It's already there. Nice.
They've really, really thought it through, and it's lightweight, it's super portable, and durable. In fact, when they were demonstrating this to me at Quilt Market, they literally stood on it. And
On the floor.
It did not break.
And it won't break.
And then they turned it right back on. I'm
Wow.
like, I'm sold. I'll take it. Because no doubt at some point I will shove it off the table.
It will get dropped. That's right.
Inadvertently. Okay.
Now see, look at that. This is fine. It doesn't have to be a perfect outline. We just need a general idea
Okay.
of where stitches go. This is perfect.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Let me get this out of the way
Perfect.
for now. And at this point, Tammy, we mentioned that we have freezer paper and we also have the Fusible. We've used the
Correct.
Fusible. What we went ahead and did for this, and I think for the one that you're stitching right
Yep.
now, see, we have a black background, and for this one, you don't really want the Fusible webbing. That's the one that has the freezer paper.
This is the freezer paper one. That's correct.
So
we have one like that.
And we have the freezer paper here. It's nice and thick. Boy, I really love how
I
thick
love
that
that
is.
freezer paper. And you only have to trace this once.
Right.
And you can reuse your freezer paper.
Oh, yeah,
again
yeah,
and again
yeah.
and again.
Oh,
So in our series, all of our circles are going to be the same size.
you're right.
Right?
And
They're
this
all
is
going
so
to match.
durable.
So you make your templates now out of your freezer paper. They will last for a very long
Right.
time.
It's like, this is freezer paper, and this is the circle. This is part of the diagram. So I just literally peel it away. Now, if
Yep.
I want to iron it back down,
Yep.
I just go and iron it again. And that's one of the things I have definitely bought the freezer paper at the grocery store. It tends to curl,
It
and
does
it
curl a
doesn't
little
have
bit.
a quarter of the weight
No,
of this.
it doesn't.
And you
This
kind
is
of,
really a heavy paper. I don't know if they can tell how heavy this is, but
I mean,
it's,
just listen to it.
it is. Yeah.
It's super heavy.
is.
It's even heavier than like a greeting card.
Oh yeah.
And see how I did it again and again, and I can peel it off and keep doing
Right on.
this and keep doing this.
It's
So
fabulous.
it's worth it to get high quality freezer paper. I love it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we did that. That's our freezer paper
Okay.
one.
That goes down. Yep.
Now I'm gonna look at your amazing sample here. She's so good. I've learned so much from you, and I think that's the one thing that I love. That guys, I'm learning too. I know that I get so much love from you. Thank you that you say I learned so much from you, and you know what? I learned so much from you.
From me.
And when I go to quilt retreat, I'm always learning, and so we just
Always.
want to always learn from each other. And
That's
so
right.
you get better and better and share, and it's so good. How did I do that?
This
Tammy?
looks really
Does
good.
it
You
look
just want to
good?
make sure you leave your 1/4 inch
Okay.
around the edge, because we are going to do a blanket stitch around this.
Okay.
Okay.
How's that?
That
work?
looks good. Yeah, that looks great.
Okay.
Fuse it down.
Sometimes when I'm going through 2 layers of the wool, because now I've got this one. Oh, I moved that, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Do you ever turn
That's
the
all
heat
right.
up a little bit
You
more?
can turn the heat up a little
Okay.
bit. Yep. And I've also used steam on wool.
Oh.
I have also used steam when I do this. When you've got multiple layers like this, you can use steam on that.
Really?
You're not going to hurt your wool.
Okay.
It's wool. It's already been dyed.
See? There you go, guys.
Not going to hurt it.
Because I'm
I
like,
promise.
steam and wool,
No.
and will it shrink?
No,
But then,
it's not going to shrink. This is already felted.
Okay.
This is already felted. This has already been hand dyed, so it's already pre-felted.
Gotcha.
So
I'm
it's not
okay.
going to shrink. No, it's fine.
So I don't think I have any
I
water
don't think
because
you
I'm
have any
like
water in
I'm
there.
so I've
We
been
don't
trained.
put water in this iron. No, we do not.
I've been so trained to
That's
not do
right.
that I don't have that.
See, but that
Well,
looks
I think
good.
I think it's and of
Yes,
course it's
I think
darker
it's
now.
perfect. It'll lighten up. It's that red dye reacts with the heat.
So Tammy, this is now where I'm going to literally hand this over, and I want to hear your process for using these amazing. I mean, I love thread. I'm getting more excited about thread all the time.
I know. I love thread too.
And
it's great. Have a lot
like
of it.
knowing what to use when and the needles is still a little bit of a mystery to me. I know one thing that I do love is this Hugo's tape. That once we open these up, they don't have a keeper. Like some thread has like a hook.
Yes.
And you can hook it.
And you can hook
this
your thread.
Isn't like that.
This does not have that. So what I've done with this one, I've actually put my Hugo's tape on here.
Oh my gosh.
So, and I'm going to leave it on there, and I can unwind my thread, leaving my Hugo's tape on there.
That's
and I don't have to take it on and off. That is so slick how that works. But yes, we will put Hugo's tape on all of these threads to hang on to that.
So if we didn't want to have the thread hang, we weren't thinking we were going to use it. We can just wrap that around, and it grabs onto itself.
Yep.
And that is such a cool product. And
it's so neat.
It just goes over it.
Yep.
Just get it.
You just need it.
Just get it. I feel like my new thing. Just get it.
You need it, just buy it.
Okay.
So we have different threads
Yes.
here, and these are wool threads. These are pearl cotton, and this is a dazzle. Okay, so we have the wool thread, and we're going to use that first. And I'm using a chenille needle, and this is the dyed wool thread by Sue Spargo. And all I'm going to do to attach my applique here is I'm going to do a little whip stitch. In this book, on page 15, you will find how to do a whip stitch. If you don't know how to do it, but I come up on my wool, I'm going to come down right on the edge of my applique and come right back up again.
So let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
So this decorative kind of loopy, almost lacy stitch is not what you're doing right now.
No,
You secure the piece down.
I'm securing the applique. Right, I'm just appliquing it right now.
And then you go back later.
Yes.
This is meant to be invisible. This is meant to be...
I want these stitches to disappear. I don't want anybody to see these stitches. I want to see the decorative stitch, not my stitch that I'm attaching. And you can barely see.
That goes fast. That
It
goes
does go
really
fast.
quick.
It does go fast. You're just doing a little tiny whip stitch.
I know what I'm doing on my next
In and out.
layover.
Yeah.
I am definitely going to take some of this with me.
This is perfect to take with you.
That type of
I
sewing.
sit and do this all the time.
It's tough to take a sewing machine in my flight bag. It doesn't fit, but this does.
This does. This is super simple, super easy. Just not while you're flying the plane, please.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll focus on flying the plane.
Focus on flying the plane. Okay? So we'd stitch all the way around, and then we use the red to do the red one. All right?
Fantastic. That's
All right.
easy to do.
We
And then
can do
to
that.
tie off in the back. I'd love to
tie
see you
off on the
tie
back?
off. Because
All
I've
right.
seen people do different...
Okay. So I'm going to take it, just take your stitch to the back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take 3 small stitches. 1, 2, 3 little stitches like this. I'm going to put it in one more time, and I'm going to run that needle about 1 inch along, making sure my needle's not showing here, and pull it through.
Really? No knots?
No knots. No, I don't want big nasty knots on the back because that's going to make a bump on the front, right?
How have I lived this long and not
Isn't
known?
that clever?
I always thought you had to have a knot on the back.
No, you don't have to knot it. I don't ever knot any of this.
And you've never had
I promise
anything
these
come out.
stitches are not coming out of here.
And plus, you're going to have a
I have
backing on it.
Fusible, right.
That's
I have
gonna cover it.
Fusible that's going on the back. It's going to fuse it. You're fine.
Because with a mug, you don't want bumps back there.
No, I don't want it bumpy. I want it smooth. Okay? All right, so that's the first step. Second step is we're going to do a scroll stitch. And I love this little scroll stitch because it looks lacy around the heart. And it just kind of curves into the heart. I love that stitch. That stitch directions are on page 133 in this book.
Okay.
Okay? All right, so I'm going to show you how to do this here. So for this stitch, I'm using a pearl cotton, and this is size 5 pearl cotton. And see the variegation in this?
Oh, I love it.
How it goes light, dark, light, dark. It turns the variegation fairly quickly, which I love that, so that you can actually see in the stitches where it's moving through the variegation.
I've definitely used thread that had a much longer variegation, and it's like you went a long
time
time
before
you saw
see
a change.
Yeah, no, you need to do it sooner. All right, so to do a scroll stitch, you bring your thread to the front, and I'm going to go about 1/4 inch above and take a little bite into my applique like this. And I should mention also that I'm using this Sue Spargo Milner size 1 needle.
Okay, is that what
this is a
here?
big needle. Yes, this is not this
These
little
are a
tiny
good
chenille
size.
needle that I was using before. These are much larger needles. You'll like the eyes on these, Jen, because they're easy to thread.
I don't have to put on my glasses?
No, you
Okay.
don't. You can thread them right away. Love that. Okay, I'm going to run my thread under the needle, counterclockwise, and around. And I'm just going to pull that stitch through. See that? It just curves right around. Let's do it again. So about 1/4 inch ahead, leave your needle in your wool. Thread goes under and around counterclockwise.
That's so beautiful.
How clever is this little stitch? See that?
It's just
See,
so
that's
pretty.
easy. It is pretty. It's very easy. So one more time. Your thread is there. Under, around, and pull it through.
Oh.
Cute. Now to finish the stitch, I'm just simply going to go into my loop, and I'm
Okay.
just going to go right through to the back. Done. Just like
Look
that.
at that.
Isn't that cute?
I
And
love
again,
it.
we're going to finish exactly the same way. I'm just going to take my little stitches on the back. And when I'm doing this, I'm being careful just to go through the backing.
Yeah.
I'm not going through the heart up
Right,
here because
you'll
I
see it.
don't want that to show on the other side. So I'm just taking my little stitches and I'm just going to take it through again. Sometimes I double check and make sure my needle's not
Yes,
showing.
I've done that.
Because
where
I've seen that.
I've been on this top.
Yeah.
And I had already tied
It's like,
off.
whoops.
Oops.
Done.
Fantastic.
Isn't that cute? I love that.
And then the X and the O are just a simple back stitch, aren't
Yes,
they?
that's a simple back stitch. And if you don't know how to do a back
Okay.
stitch, that is on page 34.
Okay.
All right? So to do a back stitch, where you're going to start, I wanted to start this for you rather than have it already done. I'm going to come up 1/4 inch ahead of where I want my stitch to be because you're stitching backwards. So I'm going to go backwards to here and then jump forward again.
Gotcha. This is one I do know.
You do know the back
I
stitch.
do know.
Pull that out a little bit. There we go. All right, so sometimes if this thread is a little bit squirrely, I like to use a thread conditioner like Thread Heaven.
You've always talked to me, and I know this is, at the time of this video right now, we have some remaining.
We do.
But Thread Heaven is now no longer being made.
That's right.
However, I heard there's a great product
Be
coming on the
other
market.
products coming. That's
that-
right. That,
that-
will be a good
So
replacement.
don't worry if
If
you
you don't have Thread Heaven, we do have a comparable product
yes.
for you.
So no worries there.
Okay.
But some kind of thread conditioner.
Yes.
Just it makes
really
it easier to
helps.
go through the wool.
This thread, sometimes thread just gets real squirrely and it just doesn't want to behave. And when I do that, it just makes your thread so nice.
Does it keep it from tangling?
Yes, it keeps it from twisting and tangling so much.
Because I ended up
Yes.
having to kind of drop my needle, I unspin.
Unspin it, right?
And I think this thread has such grip, it probably wouldn't come out of the needle. But I've
No, I
had that,
don't think so.
sometimes when I've dropped it,
The
there
whole
goes
thing
the
falls
needle,
down.
and now I'm rethreading it.
Great.
Yeah, that's not
No,
helpful.
that's not helpful. Okay.
So that's really straightforward.
So we're gonna finish it, and we're just gonna take it right to the back. Just
It's a simple
Done.
stitch, but because of the thread, it makes it look much more glamorous.
It does. I love this thread. It's got a little bit of metallic woven in it, and it is beautiful. Okay,
And strong. That's
Yes.
easy to see that.
ready? And we're gonna tie it off, jump through, and cut. Ta-da.
Fantastic.
Done.
So now is when the piece that had the fusible, this has the
Yes.
fusible, and we roughly cut around the circle,
Correct.
iron it down, cut it out, and then you go cut it, well, I guess you do, and then you cut it exactly on the line.
Exactly. Then I cut
Okay.
it right on the line.
You make sure our iron is nice and, yep, it's ready to
Nice
go.
and hot. All
Yep.
right.
And
So
this is where we
now-
use our Hugos to wrap these and
Yes, to rewrap them. All right, I'm gonna let you fuse us down here. And I would use steam on this as well.
I have no steam, Tammy. We've been over that.
We have been over that. There is no steam. We'll just pretend. They get the idea.
Yes.
You can use steam on this. I love that.
And then I know there's one more stitch that
One more
you would do
stitch.
in black.
I just want to finish those edges together and just kind of hold those two edges together. It's a blanket stitch, and it's a very basic stitch.
And I know there's different words. Some people call it a blanket stitch. Some people call it a...
Oh, a buttonhole stitch.
But those are
A
interchangeable
buttonhole
words.
stitch. They are interchangeable, and I don't think I've ever seen a difference.
No, I haven't either. Come on, wake up. There we go. So if you're used to calling it a buttonhole stitch, blanket stitch, it's the same thing.
It is the same stitch.
Okay.
That's right.
So now
Okay.
we're at that point, and you would of course
Nice.
you did yours in black,
I
but
did.
so that we can see it, you're
I'm
doing
going to
yours
use
in
silver.
Okay.
Yep. I'm going to use silver to show you how to do this.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So when I'm going to go to start this, I want my knot to hide. I
Yeah.
want to hide my knot. So I'm going to go between my layers, in and right back up. So I'm kind of inside that fusible. So I can just kind of tuck that knot right down in there. Just kind of disappears. All right. So I'm going to hold my thread with my fingers, and I'm going to come over about 1/4 of an inch in and straight out. Let's do it again. 1/4 inch. See, I'm holding my thread
I see that.
so that it
I see this
doesn't
tension
go.
right here.
See, I'm hanging on to that because I don't want that thread to just start going loose
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. Then I lose control of it. So it's almost like knitting or crocheting where you
Yeah.
hang on to your thread and you're just going to go over 1/4 inch and go.
And this would be a one. You would use. I should ask. Would you use the thread conditioner on any of this?
On any
all
thread,
of it?
yes.
Anything.
If you're having a problem with your thread starting to fray or anything like that, use that thread conditioner. It will make it so much easier.
Or even just to prevent that from happening.
Yes,
So you
yes,
don't even have to wait
absolutely.
till you have a problem.
True.
To maybe
you
to
could
prevent
just do it in the beginning
Okay.
and just be done.
Gotcha.
Yes. Okay. So we just
I
keep
love
on going
that
all the way
stitch.
around. Isn't
It
that
just
beautiful?
adds such a cute little.
I love the way it just finishes this off.
And again, it's so quick.
It is quick. And I wouldn't get really concerned about how far apart your stitches are or if they're all exactly perfect.
Just go.
Just go.
Yeah.
You just start doing it and you're going to find that you have a natural stitch and you're going to automatically go the same distance, the same stitch.
You just get it.
Just do your natural thing. Yes, the more you
Aw.
practice. And that's how you make a woolly mug rug.
Thank you so much,
Isn't that
Tammy,
clever?
for showing
I
us.
love it.
We're gonna
It's
be learning
beautiful.
together.
Absolutely.
So thank
We're
you
gonna
for
do a lot.
letting us show you all this. And
Yep.
again, if you haven't subscribed, please do so.
Yep.
Because Tammy has a lot more to
We
show
have a
us.
lot. Yes,
Okay.
we do.
See you next time.
See you next time.
There might be a certain amount of elbowing that happens in this. 56 at 28. This is my half.
You see where those scissors are? Don't go there.